Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about a comedy metal album. That is true. I'm here to talk to you about a comedy metal album. I don't think I've ever done one on the channel. This is the first time. Grandpa Metal by Brian Posehn, coming out February 14th on Megaforce Records. This album has 14 tracks, 46 minutes in length. Before we talk about the album, I really want to talk to you a little bit about Brian and I'll give you a little bit of a background. He's perhaps better known for his role in The Big Bang Theory and also the movie The Devil's Rejects, but he's a really well-known comedian actor. He's done everything from TV to movies to stand-up. He's really well-known and really well-respected. And perhaps as well-known as he is as a comedian, his love for metal is also something that a lot of people know about him, and it's something that he never hides, that he's really proud of his love for heavy metal music. So in this album, I really feel like he brings these two worlds together in order to combine them and create this one solid record. And in order to do that, he had a lot of different guest appearances on the record. Scott Ian, Corey Taylor, Gary Holt, Chuck Billy, Phil Demmel, Johan Hegg, even Weird Al Yankovic is on the record. So this just, and there's many more, by the way. These are not the only ones that are on the record. There's a lot more cameos on this album. The album is filled with great names in the world of heavy metal. Now, also, the album was co-written by Brian and Scott Ian, and to me that's very important because this album is really a perfect merger of comedy and metal, and I think when you put Brian and Scott Ian together, you really bring those two worlds together. You bring the comedy world with Brian and his love for metal, but then you bring the more scientific approach to music and to metal with Scott Ian. So the combination of the two really allow them to create an album that's very robust, both lyrically and musically, and that it's, at the end of the day, really a metal album. Sure, there's comedy in it, there's comedy in the lyrics, there's comedy even in the overall structure of the record, but at the end of the day, don't be fooled. This is a metal album through and through. Now, as far as the overall album, I really want to start off with the structure, because to me the structure plays almost as a trifactor. Almost every song, and I say this, almost every song, not every song, but almost every song has an intro track. And that to me is really important because it helps you understand the story that's going to be told in the next song. It kind of sets the table. So I really like that the aspect that they included the intro tracks. The intro tracks are really funny so that you get a lot of comedy in the intro track, but it also kind of guides you into what the next song is going to be like. So I really like that aspect. Then the second aspect of the overall structure and individual structure of the album is that they created songs musically that really match the theme of the lyrics. So if in a song you have a lot of references to Slayer, the song sounds like a Slayer track. If there's a lot of references to Anthrax, the song sounds more like an Anthrax song. There's one song that talks about Vikings. That one almost sounds like a straight up a Monomarth track. So I really like the combination of the intro. The intro helps you understand the lyrics and the story that's going to be told next. Then when you look at the song and you look at the lyrics, the music helps those lyrics come to life by kind of matching the same mood vibe that the lyrics have. So I really like the combination of these three factors as they come together in order to really provide a really robust and powerful sound in a really powerful heavy metal album. As far as the styles and genres that you're going to get, you're really going to get a wide variety. I believe that the most of the record really feels to me at least like a thrash metal record, but you're still going to get a little bit of death metal, a little bit of new wave of British heavy metal, and even some sprinkles of black metal. So the diversity in sound to me is perhaps more of a result of Brian's own diversity and his taste in heavy metal music, and I think he wanted to include that into his record. He didn't want to pigeonhole the sound to just one style, because that also determines what you can talk about within the songs. By having different styles, different genres at play, it really allows the lyrics to go almost anywhere he wants to go and allows him to play with different factors, and I think that gives a lot more life to the record. I also like that the last track on the record is a complete joke. It's supposed to be a hidden track. Back in the day when I was growing up, perhaps when Brian was growing up, it was very common for bands to hide a track on their albums. You would have to like play the last track all the way through. The song would finish. Sometimes you would go for another minute or two of pure silence and then this hidden track would show up. It was really common. I remember always playing the last song all the way to the end and then kind of pressing forward on the CD player to see if it would go into a hidden track. So he created a very not so hidden track as the last track of the album, as the outro. I thought that was a really cool nod to the old school metalheads, so I really like that. That really plays with the overall feel that this album has. He also included two cover songs. He included What the Fox Say, and he included Take On Me by a-ha, a cover of Take On Me by a-ha. So I really like those two covers. I prefer the Take On Me one. I really thought that one was really well created, really well put together. What the Fox Say has a much different style, has a much different approach, but he gave it a completely different spin. I would say that with What the Fox Say, he kind of took that one more and created more a song of his own. With Take On Me, it was more close connected to the original, but still a much heavier, almost more of a power metal feel to that track. I really liked it. I really liked the fact that he included these covers. It just added a different dynamic from all the original material that you have on the album. Overall, I have to say that this album is really a surprise for 2020. I was not expecting this album at all, and once I got into it, I was not expecting it to be as good as it was, as it is. The album musically perhaps surprised me more than lyrically. I was expecting the album to be very funny lyrically. I was not expecting the structure of the album to be as dynamic, as robust as it is, with a combination of intro tracks, lyrics combining with the style of songs. So that really surprised me. But overall, the music is really what I was the most surprised, because the tracks are really good, really well constructed, sound absolutely amazing. Great playing all around. I mean, he surrounded himself with great musicians, so perhaps I shouldn't be as surprised. But going in, not knowing too much about the record, the music side of things really surprised me on how robust, how good it is. And then the lyrics just fit in, and the vocals just fit in like a glove to really give you a very strong heavy metal release. Like I said earlier, don't fool yourself. This is a heavy metal album with a lot of things to laugh about. That's pretty much the way to describe it. Now, as far as songs are concerned, I really want to start off with the real first song on the album. There's an intro into this song, but this is really the first track on the album, and that is Satan's Kind of a Dick. And I really like the theme of this song. This song it's really about Satan being a dick. That maybe he's not as cool as we think he is, even though heavy metal bands has made out him to be almost of a hero. So this song is really about perhaps him not being that kind of a hero and being a dick. And by the way, he doesn't play Slayer in Hell. So that's kind of a theme. So the song kind of starts to use, from a lyrical content, a lot of Slayer references. Gary Holt, by the way, there's a solo on this track that's absolutely magnificent. It really brings that Slayer vibe to the track. This track really sounds like a Slayer song. And that has a lot to do with, I said earlier, with the overall structure of the album. So this is a song that talks about, you know, the devil being a dick, how he doesn't play Slayer in Hell, and that's pretty much the lyrical content. Like I said, it uses a lot of Slayer references, but the song itself really sounds like a Slayer song. It really has that feel, that nature to it. Brian's vocals on this track really work well. He has the perfect tone to really pull it off, not only from a musical side of things, but also from a comedy side of things, because he has the ability to give the right nuance to the right words in the right place to really emphasize a lot of the jokes, and at the same time to still make the song feel heavy and feel like a heavy metal track. Next, 1/4 Viking, 3/4 Pussy. My favorite, you heard it right by the way, 1/4 Viking, 3/4 Pussy. My favorite song on the album. It features Johan Hegg from Amon Amarth on vocals. It's pretty much a duet between the two. Maybe a duet is not a really good explanation. It's just the two of them coming in on vocals and really kind of tagging one off of the other. So maybe duet is not the perfect way of explaining it, but you're going to get both of them on vocals. A song that has a very deep root in Amon Amarth music. It really sounds almost like an Amon Amarth track, and that plays well to the fact that Johan Hegg is on it, but it also plays well to the fact that the lyrics are about Brian being 1/4 Viking, 3/4 Pussy, according to his grandmother. So the track that leads into this, there's an intro track into this, which is him talking to his grandmother about his background and how she sees him as being only 1/4 Viking and 3/4 Pussy. So that plays into this song. So you get a song that once again uses the lyrics, uses a lot of Amon Amarth references, a lot of Viking references on this song lyrically, and then you have that represented in the music that surrounds it by having a song that has that Amon Amarth vibe to it, that almost Viking battle hymn feel. The solo on this track is by my absolutely favorite solo on the whole album. It kills, it absolutely destroys. Magnificent guitar solo. Last, Grandpa Metal, which is the name of the album. This is a song really about Scott Ian, and is a song where both of them participate. The song starts off with an intro, which is a discussion between the two, where Brian is trying to tell Scott Ian about some new bands, and he compares those new bands with old bands like Iron Maiden or Megadeth that have been around for a long time. And then the response that he gets is, if I wanted to listen to bands that sound like those, I would just listen to them, while I listen to new bands that have that throwback sound. So there's a really interesting dynamic between two metalheads talking about new metal, not new metal, but new metal and old metal. I really like that interaction because I feel like that's something that happens a lot between new metalheads and old metalheads, or at least new metalheads that are more open to newer bands and newer sound than versus metalheads that are more stuck into their throwback sound, into their throwback past. So this song kind of starts with that discussion. I really like that because it added life, it added meaning to the song that was going to continue after that intro. The intro in this case is not separate. This is one of those songs that actually the intro is part of the song. So I really like that dynamic to open up with. And then the song ensues, and pretty much the song is Brian talking about Scott Ian and how he's Grandpa Metal. He is Grandpa Metal, and how he's stuck in these old ways, and he's old, and he's been listening to metal for a long time, and he's not willing to listen to new bands and expand his horizon. So the whole song is pretty much Brian roasting Scott Ian, and he uses a lot of Anthrax references, and therefore the song has a very noticeable Anthrax vibe to it, which, like I said, it's very common throughout the whole record. I really love this song. I really love the dynamic between the two, because while Brian is the main vocals on this track, you're still going to get Scott Ian coming in with a few cameos here and there, almost like Brian is roasting him, is talking to him, and then Scott is just listening to it and just giving like yay and nay kind of answers to him. So I really like that dynamic as far as the track is concerned, because it almost feels like a dialogue between the two, or at least a monologue where one person is talking and the other one is just listening and nodding their head. But I really like the dynamic of this track. Alright guys, this is it. This is Grandpa Metal by Brian Posehn, out February 14th on Megaforce Records. Let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below. As always, I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.